Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. We only have two to be continued so far. We're close to the end of two of them, though, and Maria is just fucking stuck. So, we gotta figure out what the hell is going on with Minorikawa. Right now, Kano is stuck at a bad end. Need to figure out how to get him out of there. So we already went through this in the previous video. Need to get back to the part where he's about to sign off on transferring the debt, Toyama's debt, over to him. Fucking hear my... fucking feel it! Feel me mashing the fucking X button. And then the Yakuza toughs just start clapping. Honestly, looking at these dumbasses just makes me want to play Yakuza. Here we go. We require a decision now. Just stamp here. Cognizance. You don't have a stamp, we'll take a signature as well. You can't do this! I won't do it. Who the hell do you think I am? I am Minorikawa. I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. There we go. Minorikawa readied his pen and signed the document. Alright! Sagawa cheered. Now we're talking! A satisfied grin came to Ozu's face as he reached for the contract. Before he could pick it up, Chiaki snatched it from the desk. I'm not letting you do this! Crumpling the paper, she stuffed it right into her mouth. Hey! Sagawa snapped. What the hell are you doing? Tried to force Chiaki's mouth open. Don't you dare, you bitch! But despite his frantic efforts, Chiaki managed to gulp the wad of paper down. Sagawa blinked a few times. Oh, you did not just do that! Ozu looked on, dumbstruck. Gotta get a new contract from the office, boss. Bring as many as you want, Chiaki declared. I'll just keep eating them. Go, you some kind of damn goat or something? Mental image of a goat eating paper is a common one, dating back to long ago when paper was made solely out of plant material. If a goat were to eat modern paper, the wad of chemically treated pulp would go undigested and possibly cause an intestinal blockage. So please, do not feed paper to goats. Sagawa shoved Chiaki up against the desk. Ow! Cut it out! That hurts! As she struggles to resist, Chiaki lurched toward the desk, planting one of her hands atop the TV remote control. One of her fingers happened to land on the volume up button. Sound from the television set soon hit max volume. We have just learned the identity of the victim killed in the explosion. Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical executive. Shibuya resident? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Toyama didn't live in Shibuya. Once again, the victim of the explosion was Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka. The cause of the explosion remains unknown. The police are still in the process of following up several potential leads. The site of the incident remains an alarming scene, with relief workers continuing to tend to the wounded. 4 people in the editing office spoke in near unison. Huh? Who's Tanaka? Well, I can already tell a possible bad ending. Also, shit, I'm stuck still. I'm stuck with Kano's bad end. No, that's not a good jump. Oh, what's this jump? No, that's not a good jump. Keep out. I don't have... Yeah, I don't have any jump points. What the fuck? Okay, hang on. Talk with Kuze. I think we should hold back for now. And Kuze grumbled. Still don't know if Mamoru Tanaka was murdered or if he committed suicide, Kano pointed out. We should at least wait until we know that much. This case had so many loose ends that could lead to dangerous directions. It would pay to be as prudent as possible. Kuze paused for a moment and thought, then nodded. See what you mean. All right, then. And without another word, he headed back to the conference room. Alright. I'm not sure if this is just a bad ending. Oh god, we have to go through the entirety of her bullshit again. I love you, girl, but what I don't... Wait, hang on. What happened? Oh, no. No. That could have been dangerous. Okay. My fucking controller stopped working for a moment. It, like, disconnected. Help me. No, not adjust brightness. Oh, why can't I just skip ahead? Like, I can skip ahead, kind of, but I can't skip the scene. I can't, like... It looks like I can't. Oh. Aha! Okay, wait, I can! Why would you take such a risk? Here we go. Volume. We have just learned that the explosion nearly claimed the life of one man. While police have stated that there is a likelihood of foul play at work, they are also pursuing leads that this was a potential suicide. They hadn't released a name, but they must have been talking about Toyama. Feeling the impact of his mentor's death all over again, Minorikawa slumped back to his chair, his body languid and lifeless. Still, there was one thing he could do for the friend he'd lost. Draw up a new contract. I'll sign it. Mr. Mino! Argue with me. Made up my mind. Chiaki fell silent. No reneging on our deal now, Ozu said with a nasty sneer. I do hope you don't get any funny ideas about running out on us. But Minorikawa didn't need the warning. Had no such plans. Sagawa slapped a new contract on the desk. Here, sign it. Sagawa signed for a second time. Sagawa stepped in to make doubly sure that Chiaki could read it. I do hope you're able to learn enough to pay us back in short order, Mr. Minorikawa. With a satisfied grin, Ozu smacked him on the shoulder. Minorikawa stood on deck as the ship set out across the rolling waves. In order to pay back the loan as soon as he could, he'd had quit his financially unreliable career as a freelancer. For over a year now, he'd been sailing the seas, tossed by wind and waves as he went in pursuit of his new goal. Minorikawa gazed out over the vast wild ocean, his eyes shone with the self-same gleam that had lit him in the days as a reporter chasing after the truth. With pen exchanged for fishing rod, he sought a brand new destiny. Forge onward, Minorikawa, for the diamonds of the sea, the rare bluefin tuna. A man of the sea. Minorikawa took on Toyama's old debt and was forced to set out for a new life at sea. But was that really Toyama who was killed in the explosion? Norikawa's future might turn out differently if he hears who exactly was inside the minivan. Alright. I figured that wouldn't lead to anything productive, so I had to try. Recent the name should be alright. Okay, so... No, I'm going too far up. Okay, Minorikawa depressed. Maybe depending on what his inner voice says will cause him to have a different dialogue that can then let me jump. You've forgotten your passion. You need to get that back. Yeah, that was his only option, really. He needed to turn back the clock to reclaim the fire that used to burn inside him. And he knew just how to do that. Before he could, however, a young man stumbled his path, taking a messy fall. Damn it! Alright, what if I tell the stumbling man to beat the shit out of me? Bring it on! Blah! Huck swung his wooden club without a moment's hesitation. Struck Minorikawa on the shoulder, knocking him off balance. Whoa, don't really bring it on! Nah, man, it's too late for take-backs. With a nasty little grin, the young fellow swung again, then again, catching Minorikawa in the arm inside. Only when the journalist was curled up in a battered ball on the ground did the kid finally let up. Yeah, good to get a little warm-up before I take down that other bitch. Weapon still in hand, the punk marched off toward Dogenzaka. Hey, are you okay? Norikawa stirred to find Kimizuka at his side. Once again, the man had impeccable timing. Do you need a ride somewhere, maybe, sir? The driver asked, keeping his tone polite. Yeah, I do. To the hospital. Norikawa is just not having a good time this chapter. Pummeled. A hot-headed young punk gave Norikawa a beating bad enough to send him to the hospital. Maybe our reporter friend shouldn't be quite so confrontational with this fellow. Yeah. Alright. Oh, maybe Achi. Maybe I can get Achi to... No. Hey, people, that ain't fun. Maybe I can say something different for Achi. I'll head to the hospital, perhaps. How about we drop by the hospital? Yeah, how about we drop by the hospital for... The emotions Achi had been trying to hide now came welling to the surface. We'll go see Suzune, and after that we can go look for your sister. Would that be okay with you? That would be more than okay with me. At long last, Hitomi smiled at him. Back in sync with each other, Achi and Hitomi headed to the hospital. Nothing. Ah. This might be the person Kanan was warning us about. Oh-ho, you know Kanan, do you? The man spoke without changing his facial expression. She let a few things slip herself. Look, who the hell are you? Achi demanded. The man calmly reached into his jacket pocket. I draw his gun, Achi braced for action. My name is Jack Stanley. Same shit. Alright. Governor's press conference. It's the mastermind after. Sawa? No allies. I gotta find some place to fucking jump. Unless the jump point is in here. That's never happened. Not yet, at least. If I fucking exhaust all of my options, I guess I can go back to that. Alright. So take on the debt. Can't we just call it even? Two men stiffened. What was that? The older one of the two demanded. Can't we just call it even? This time, Norikawa spat the word out sharp and clear. The older fellow furrowed his brow, a vein pulsing visibly at his temple. You want to say that one more time? He growled. Norikawa cleared his throat. Call it even. Next thing Norikawa knew, he'd been headbutted right between the eyes. An instant later, he was slammed bodily down onto the desk. You dumb bastard! Vaguely heard hands ringing inside his head. That's when he lost consciousness. Man, Norikawa is not having a good time. Mr. Mino! Someone was calling to him. Mr. Mino, wake up! Chiaki forced his eyeballs back open. Ugh, what happened? Here, could you please read this? Oh, is it a dream? A minute? No, maybe an hour. Are you awake now, sir? Are you awake now, sir? Norikawa saw the two. Hadn't been out for too long, then. We'll just wait here until you're inclined to take on the debt. Norikawa's nose stung painfully. Okay, no. I thought he dreamt it. Please, can you read this? It's my copy of the street interview. Debt problem, but still, I already wrote it all. Right. This wasn't going to help with the debt situation, but when the professional took on a job, they saw it to the end. Alright. Same shit. I'm fucking stuck. That's no allies. Alright, so thanks to Kajiwara. I can have banana whenever I want. Kajiwara returned and saw his grin even more brightly. Yes, yes, of course, by all means. Have as many as you like. A pair of bananas! Sawa peeled his banana and took a hearty bite. The mild sweetness was pleasant and soothing. It was a flavor that brought back memories. I often eat bananas when I go to the park with my daughters. No way is this it. Kajiwara. Oh, no, wait, that was Kajiwara. Oh. I thought that was... Daughter detective. Started grade school this year. Must be adorable. This is the same shit I've heard before, but on a different screen. Help me. Please. Select my family. Force papers. Law tends to favor the mother. Here's some chocolate. More recently, my ex-wife talked about getting remarried, Kajiwara. She wants me to stop seeing our daughter. Get him to his own chocolate bar with a soft snap. It's no less than I deserve. It still hurts. Sawa couldn't help but sympathize. The man was losing his daughter. Here was someone to talk to. He was sure of that much now. Detective, I apologize. I've kept things from you. Okay, is this now the same? Yep. Oh my goodness, come on, man. Okay, maybe this is it. There's plenty you can help me with, like that fried egg on rice you made me was delicious. Kajiwara let out a bright little laugh. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. You flatter me. Not flattery. Sawa shook his head seriously. Honestly, I've got a hankering for more. Wish I had your cooking skills, detective. Vice Kachiwara's smile took on sadness. Anyone could have done something like that after living alone like I have. I'm married now. Doing this job caused me to neglect my family. Finally, about 2 years ago, divorce papers wanted to be able to keep our daughter with me, but, well, the law tends to favor the mother when it comes to custody issues. So his living alone was a newer issue after being separated from his wife and daughter. That fried egg on rice, my daughter used to love that. That's so. I can cook more proper dishes, but for whatever reason, she just really loved that one. Detective then 2 bars of chocolate from his pocket. My daughter was fond of this brand of chocolate, too. I would warn her that she'd get cavities if she ate too much, but she stuffed her face to the point that she was practically always chocolate smearing around her mouth. Kachiwara sighed, forlorn smile. Guess the fact that I always carry stuff like this around in my pockets just means that I'm a fool who doesn't know how to let go. Sawa shook his head. I don't think that's true at all. Sawa, too, broke off a piece of chocolate and slipped it into his mouth. It was sweet and milky, a taste of a child would love. 2 men smiled at one another. Here was a man Osawa could really talk to. He was sure of that much now. There's still stuff new. Detective, I apologize, I've kept things from you. Now to say, fuck. Shit! There's no end! There's no end to my fucking suffering. Okay, fine. Let's see if one of these... What was her name? I was curious to know more. Kotone. We dated when we were in high school. Oh wow. I get the impression that the other boy would have liked Kotone too, right? The gunman's eyes widened. You're very astute. Call it a woman's intuition, I say proudly. Then I asked the obvious follow-up. So what happened to you two? I dumped her. The man carefully slips the notebook into the pocket inside his jacket. How come? I asked. Felt it was for the best. He let out a little chuckle, then stands up and brushes the dust off his pants. He looks strangely lonely. Yeah, fucking keep out. I don't know what to do. This entire chapter's gonna be me fucking bumbling around trying to figure out how to continue this one storyline. Oh, fuck! What happened with Kano? What did I do? What did I do differently? What happened? Fuck! I don't know what happened! Why is this different? Got a call of his own. Tateno! Is that you? Okay, come on. Secured Maria Osawa. What? You have to bring her ASAP. You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location. You and Hitomi in custody. Wait. Oh yeah! Fuck, I completely forgot! Okay, okay, yeah! It was because of Head to the Hospital. Okay, now I remember. If you choose to keep going searching for the sister, then they run into them and they have to lose them. That's fucking right. I can't believe... I completely forgot about that entire little sub thing. Holy shit. Finally managed to find a Tomi. What for? There was no reply. Answer me. There's an office building in that place. I'll be waiting. If you don't do it, I'll fucking do it again. I'll fucking kill her. Alright. And then run! Went to South Hill on Non-Pedai alone. The building takes its name from a rough translation of Nanpadai, the name of the area where it is located. The official name is South Hill Building, but since this is awkward to say, it is frequently shortened. He hadn't brought Hitomi to Tateno. He hadn't brought Hitomi as Tateno had demanded, nor had he reported the situation to Kuse. First, he wanted to meet with Tateno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Tateno might want with Hitomi. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead-up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Tateno had seemed like the same man Kano had always revered. So why was he doing this? Kano couldn't think of a reason. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out onto the open roof. Time for half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would lay his doubts at Tateno's feet. Then, soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. He took a look around, but saw no sign of Tateno. "Detective Tateno, where are you?" Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times. "It's Kano! I've come as you asked!" "Where's Hitomi Osawa?" Kano whirled around as he heard the voice behind him. Tateno stepped into view from behind a water tank. He led with him a young woman, bound and blindfolded. "Why didn't you bring her?" he growled. Kano stared in shock. "Detective Tateno, why are you doing this?" "Is that really Maria?" "Thank you." Tateno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. There was no doubt about it. She looked very much like Hitomi Osawa. A surge of frustration rushed through Kano. "Detective Tateno, what is the meaning of this?" Kano fought to remain calm. He felt like he was on the verge of falling to pieces. "Bring me Hitomi Osawa and I'll let this girl go." "Why? What do you need Hitomi for?" But Tateno's only answer was an icy stare. "This isn't like you. It's so weird. The detective Tateno who I know." "Who you know?" Tateno cut him off. "What do you know about me?" "I know what sort of detective you are, sir, because I've modeled myself after you for my whole career." The older man's expression remained stony. "Don't you remember," Kano went on, "that time when you risked your life to talk down that man who barricaded himself inside that office? Ever since then, you've been my—" Tateno interrupted him with a sudden burst of laughter. "You really are gullible, you know that? You can only see things the way you want to see them." "What do you mean by that?" "The truth is, I didn't even care if I died doing what I did. That's why I doused myself in gasoline." Kano's voice had gone low and quiet. That was no display of heroics. It was more attempted suicide than anything else. I wasn't thinking about the other people still inside the building. It's just a coincidence things turned out the way they did. "So then, if you'd made a single misstep, then everyone in that building might well have burned to death." "You're lying! That can't be true!" Kano shook his head incessantly. "I don't have time for this conversation." Tateno pressed the barrel of his gun to Maria's head. "If you don't bring Hitomi Osawa to me, believe me, I'll blow her brains out." "Please stop this!" Kano shouted. There was no hesitation in Tateno's eyes. He looked like he really would shoot Maria if Kano didn't do as he asked. "Hurry up! Bring Hitomi to me!" "Can't you at least tell me what's going on?" "Go now, or so help me, I'll shoot." Kano drew his own gun from his jacket. "I know you, Detective Tateno. I know there's some meaning behind all this. Kano's words came out as an broke. You think you can shoot me? Tateno spat. Letting El Karawan go free. Taking Maria hostage. This has to mean something. Sweat made Kano's hand slick where he clutched his gun. I asked if you think you can shoot me. I've always looked up to you. You were the sort of detective I wanted to become. Kano's view of Tateno began to blur as tears welled in his eyes. Can you shoot me, Kano? I can! Even as he cried, Kano stood resolute, his best to stare down the older man. Set his finger squarely at the trigger and his gun at Tateno's forehead. Suddenly, the piercing stare vanished from the other detective's eyes. I've got to give you full marks for that, Kano. Tateno smiled thinly. I'll tell you then. Tell you why I'm doing this. To be continued. Oh no, wait, shit, cool! It all happened 17 years ago. A meth addict assaulted someone in Shibuya. Tateno was questioning people around Dokuzaka in search of the perp. He happened to pass by Endo Electronics. Oh hey, Tateno! Oh hey, Tateno! Otone Endo, clad in pristine white. Clutched to her breast was her daughter, Suzune, a few months old. It's been a long time, Otono said. She flashed a tiny smile. Yes, it has, Tateno replied with a clumsy smile of his own. Are you on the job? Yes, I am. Gotono recoiled slightly at the dour look on Tateno's face. Is something the matter? There's an armed criminal hiding out somewhere in the area. What? I wouldn't leave the shop for a while if you can avoid it. But I have to go to the bank to deposit some money. Surely you can have Daisuke go do it. He's away on a repair job and hasn't come back yet. Tateno let out a one-note sigh. I see Daisuke still does things on his own way. Alright, let me escort you to the bank. You mean it? I'd feel a lot safer having... Gotono flashed him a smile so wide that Tateno thought he might lose himself in it. Tateno, Gotone, and Daisuke were childhood friends and had gone to school together up through high school. Tateno and Daisuke were always clowning around together, and Gotone was always there alongside them, laughing. It had been quite some time since they had gotten to walk along Dokuzaka with Gotone. How have you been lately? Well, with a newborn to look after. It's been pretty hectic. But there's never a dull moment. Things have been good. Glad to hear it. Gotone was always as bright as a sunflower. Sometimes, Tateno managed to convince himself that just the sight of her was enough. Outside the bank, Gotone held Suzune out to him. Tateno received the baby with an anxious frown. What's with the face? I'm not good with babies. I haven't held one very often. Oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Just hold on to her for a minute while I take care of things inside. Alright. He held the baby gingerly, like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Gotone chuckled softly. Ah! Suzune stirred and squirmed into Tateno's arms. She kind of has Gotone's eyes, he thought. Strange, the sensation of holding a child. She was so soft and light, and yet such a real and responsive presence. The faint warmth of her body warmed Tateno inwardly in turn. When Gotone returned after making her deposit, they strolled to a nearby park, Suzune back in her mother's arms. Do you have any plans for marriage, Tateno? I haven't thought about it. Work has me plenty busy. Oh, that's just an excuse, Gotone said. If there really were some woman who wanted to marry, you wouldn't let work stop you. And I suppose it's because there hasn't been anyone I've felt that way about. Really? Nobody this whole time? Yeah, really. I see. But still, seeing the two of you like this makes me realize how nice having a family. Tateno peered deeply into Suzune's face. Well, if it ain't a Tateno, looked up as a cheery voice cut into the conversation. It was Daisuke. What are you doing here? He asked his wife. I could ask you the same question. Come on, give me a break. I've come to make the deposit for the client. In that case, no need to worry. I just took care of it myself. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Huh? Really? Tone smiled as Daisuke reached down and carefully lifted Suzune in his arms. Beaming happily at his daughter, he nuzzled up against her tiny cheek. Daisuke! Oh, Daisuke! Long time no see. Yeah, glad you're doing well for yourself, Tateno. They walked side by side. Daisuke proudly showed off Suzune's drowsing face. What do you think? Adorable, isn't she? Yeah. Luckily she doesn't have your looks. Hey now. Bad nothing be the same as always, huh? Some things haven't changed since high school. Why not drop by our place for a bit? Daisuke offered. Sorry. I'm in the middle of a job, actually. Tenno turned to glance at Kotone. Oh! An instant later, Daisuke screamed. Kotone! I've wanted to scream to Tenno. Man had come up behind his wife and now held a kitchen knife to her throat. Kotone stood stiffly, frozen in terror. Let her go! Tenno took a step toward the man. Slightly upturned eyes, the close-cropped hair, the thin mustache. All the details matched the description. This had to be the man Tenno was after. Shut your damn mouth! You want to try and kill me, huh? This lady here wants to try and kill me! The man was babbling nonsense. Reporters had said the suspect was a tweaker. Right now, his mind was probably for meth withdrawals. Left unchecked, there was no telling what he might do. Tenno shoved Daisuke behind him and drew his gun from his jacket. Wait, don't shoot! You'll hit Kotone! Tenno ignored Daisuke's shouts and trained his gun on the perp's shoulders. He was confident in his marksmanship. He'd never miss at this range. Tenno, please, back down! Daisuke pleaded. Suzune still clutched in his arms. I beg you! I can't, Tenno hissed. This isn't someone we reason with. He suddenly began waving his knife around. He could stab it into Kotone at any moment. Tenno had to take the shot now. He aimed for the shoulder of the arm the man held his knife in. Tenno, stop! Daisuke shouted. Don't do this! A moment, Tenno's eyes met Kotone's. God, he saw her give a tiny nod. Don't shoot! It was all over. Instant. By the time Tateno had the perp subdued, Tone's white shirt was soaked through red. With Kotone's death, so too died Tateno's heart. Whatever feelings had lived inside him had been reduced to cinders, leaving only a never-ending need to atone. Countless times he'd thought of ending his life in order to make things up to Daisuke and his children. The only reason he didn't go through with it was that he knew death would be the easy way out. So, he'd stayed on as a detective. He would carry the weight of his sins with him for as long as he lived. This was the sentence Tateno gave himself. "15 years had passed since Kotone's death. For the first time, Tateno had gone to visit her grave. He was standing by the grave marker with his hands clasped when someone called out to him from behind. Excuse me. Excuse me." A slender young woman stood there, flowers in hand. Tateno instantly recognized her. Suzune. She looked just like Kotone had back in her high school days. "Did you know my mother?" she asked. "Ah, yes. We were classmates a long time ago." "Oh, really? Thank you so much for coming." Suzune gave a slight bow, then gazed up at Tateno with her big bright eyes. You look just like her." Tateno struggled to hold back the tears. He felt as if Kotone stood before him, turned to life. "My father tells me the same thing all the time." "I'm sure once you're all grown up, you'll be just as beautiful as she was." A forlorn smile came to Suzune's voice. "Once I'm grown up? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part where I'm going to die young." "Don't be ridiculous," Tateno exclaimed. "Why would you say such a horrible thing?" Suzune took a step backward, shocked to be rebuked by a stranger. "My apologies," he said hurriedly. "I didn't mean to startle you." "No, it's all right," Suzune murmured, clutching the flowers close. "Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself. But I'm sick, so there's not really any change it." "Sick?" "I have a heart condition." A generic expression for illnesses pertaining to the heart, also referred to as heart disease, includes things like heart failure, valvular heart disease, and so forth. A transplant is the only thing that can help me. My blood type is a little bit weird. It doesn't look like they'll be able to find me a compatible donor. The immune system exists to get rid of foreign substances in the body. Often a patient's immune system will attack a transplanted organ, which can result in the organ failing or functioning poorly. To mitigate the risk of rejection, it is preferable for the donor and the recipient to have matching body tissue. In the case of a heart transplant, characteristics such as blood type and pre-sensitized antibodies, human leukocyte antigens, must be screened ahead of time. Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hands in silence. Tateno felt a retching pain inside of him, as if Kotone were being taken from him all over again. If there really was a god, why would he do such dreadful things? Is there nothing I can do? Nearly lamented out loud. "I'll do anything. Suzune. I'll do whatever I have to in order to save you." Tateno clutched his fist as he stared at the grave. "Tell me, Kotone, what can I possibly do for your daughter? Please, tell me. Please." And so the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Tateno was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now. Fearing that something had happened to Suzune, Tateno answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once, he heard Daisuke wailing. "Suzune had a seizure! She might not come back from this one." Tateno's terrible suspicions had been right on the mark. He felt himself broken. "Please," Daisuke explained. "You need to shoot that girl you're with. That Hitomi Osawa. You need to shoot her in the head. If we have her heart, we can save Suzune." At first, Tateno couldn't make sense of what Daisuke was saying. "Hurry up and shoot! Shoot her, please!" Hitomi Osawa has the Bombay blood type! Wait, hold on. Want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why? Scan the air. "Daisuke, are you nearby?" Wait, where are you? Don't worry about that. If you could just render her brain dead, we'll be able to transplant her heart into Suzune. The term brain dead refers to the state where the entire brain, including the brain stem, is beyond any recovery. In Japan, brain death is defined by Article 6 of the Act on Organ Transplantation, which states that brain death can only be declared when the goal of authorizing a transplant can be declared with the goal of authorizing a transplant, and is subject to the judgment of at least 2 doctors inspecting the patient according to a preset process at least 6 hours apart. Shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they'd wind up brain dead. Even assuming it did, if Tateno shot the Osawa girl here in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for the heart transplant would surely have passed. Tateno, shoot her, please! Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that. Hurry! Like his old friend wasn't even listening to him. Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, they wouldn't be able to perform a transplant. But Daisuke kept on shouting. It's fine! It'll be fine! I'll make the transplant work somehow! Make it work. Even knowing how ridiculous that was, part of Tateno wanted to know what he had in mind. Anything. I finally found it! I found something we can do for Suzune! Please, help me help her! Tateno understood Daisuke's helpless to stop the suffering of someone he loved. Nothing in the world hurt as much as that. I want to save Suzune. Tateno, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you. Tateno could hear choked weeps from the other side of the line. That sound, something inside him shifted. Yes, Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening wasn't the issue. What mattered was that right now he could take action. He could do something for Suzune. He mustered up his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart. For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he loved. Tano checked the gun tucked inside his jacket. Then slowly began making its way through the crowd toward Hitomi. Now you know why we're here. Tateno just gestured subtly with his gun, his barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. Kano's own gun wavered in his hand. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tateno now. And now he was sure of one thing. Words were never going to stop this man. Kano, Tateno said. At my age, I've seen all sorts of young detectives come and go. He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano. And you're about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. Do you know how many formal apologies I've had to write because of you? Tateno let out a heavy sigh. But you know, Kano, because of the way you've looked up to me, you've saved me. That's the truth. It sounded like a man speaking his last words. Now come on, see if you can stop me. He pressed that gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head. Detective Tateno! His finger wavered on the trigger. Shoot him. You have to shoot him. If you don't shoot him, Maria is going to die. He tried desperately to convince himself. I am going to stop you. Tateno looked coldly in the eye. Do it then! Shoot me! Kano stared right back, tightened his grip on the trigger. Ah! I don't know. Don't ask me to scream when my throat is already fucked. I don't think I've ever screamed in my fucking life anyway. Not since I hit puberty at least. Fuck. Anyway. Alright. Took him fucking 15 minutes to fucking tell his backstory. Fucking drama queen. Now I'm just being an asshole. Alright. Finally found you. I hear a faint voice and realize that the man is listening to a wireless radio. I've managed to secure Hitomi Osawa at Shibuya Central Hospital, the voice says. A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls his cell phone from his jacket and hurriedly makes a call. I've secured Maria Osawa, he says to someone on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa? Is my name Maria Osawa? You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi Osawa. If I'm Maria Osawa, what sort of relation do I have with Hitomi? If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Then my captor hangs up. Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me? Don't look at me like that. He steps in close to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he'd lost during our little talk is back in full force. Just bear with me a little longer. He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it at all. Just then I hear Kanon's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass, tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. How are you able to do that when the string is so tangled up? Oh, once you know the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. I'm showing Kanon how to do a cat's cradle. She reached out for the string. Huh? Doesn't get hold of it quite right. What gives? Despite her effort, the string gets all jumbled up. No, not like that, I say. Hook your index finger through the front part of the string. No, I get that. Kanon's getting irritated. After giving it a few more tries, she finally manages to pull it off. There we go, she says. Look at that! Seeing her innocent little smile bolsters my own spirits. That's neat. Thanks for teaching me. Oh, it's nothing special. Here, as a thanks, let me teach you some skills to protect yourself. Abruptly, my memory jumps forward a bit. Yeah, we brawling! Kanon had been training me in some form of self-defense. Techniques for protecting oneself when attacked. Rather than defeating the opponent, self-defense training generally prioritizes simply getting oneself away from danger. Some people consider behavioral tenets such as run away when you're attacked or don't go near dangerous places to be forms of self-defense as well. Don't overthink it, she says. People would either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you. If you can stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there. She demonstrates some defensive movements as I watch. I follow suit, doing my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this. Kanon throws a punch at me. I dodge, grab her by the wrist, and give her arm a hard twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming to her face. Nicely done, she says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I really just do that? Once you repeat the movements enough, your body will treat them like second nature. I do as she says, trying to repeat the movements over and over. At first, it feels like a silly gimmick, but eventually I can feel the motions growing smoother. There you go. People like those thugs we met before won't get the drop on you again. Thugs? Now my memories zip further back into the past. I was wandering the streets, trying to get back to my hotel, but I'd gotten lost. By the time I'd realized I'd wandered into some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. They must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they had caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kanon had seen that. Thank you so much for what you did for me. I didn't want there to be a scene here, Kanon said bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the thug's attack. That's all. I'd happened to be right underneath her apartment window when I was nearly abducted. Bit by bit, my memories of Kanon are starting to resurface. Just a little more. Just a little more, and I'll have myself back. I'm sure of it. Detective Tateno. Where are you? A man's voice suddenly slapped me back into the moment. It's Kano! I've come as you asked! The gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet. Where's Hitomi Osawa? He snarls. Oh, where's Hitomi Osawa? He snarls. Why didn't you bring her here? Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? My captor blindfold. First thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly by overhead. I'm sure I've seen it before. Recently at that. There's a flash or revelation inside my head. Like a dam bursting. My memories come flooding back to me. Last night, I was at a party, a sort of mixer with the exchange students. Someone was plotting to use this party as an opportunity to abduct my sister, Hitomi. And so I told Hitomi that the party started 1 hour later than it really did. I had a plan, to let myself get abducted in Hitomi's place. Of course, the idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with a tiny GPS. Wherever I happened to be taken, Kanon would be able to track my location. What we hadn't accounted on, though, was my necklace getting torn off when I was attacked. I'd managed to grab hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall gazing blearily out of the car window. That's when I saw the blimp, right after we parked. Yes, it went fine. Man talking to someone on a cell phone. All right, I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in the room upstairs. The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Then, I guess for good measure, he hit me on the head again. That's right. There's more of it coming back to me now. You spent your life living in a country at peace in Japan. You couldn't possibly understand me. Kanon again. So it's not like she and I became fast friends right away or anything. The two of us were too different in a lot of ways. Where do you draw the line? What would you protect with your life? What does justice mean to you? A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kanon asked me a new question, and I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp on my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along, yet I kept visiting Kanon's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time when we didn't have anything in particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw me deftly manipulate the string with my fingers. Who taught you how to do that? She asked. My mother. My real mother, that is. Kanon furrowed her brow. What do you mean, real? As opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her that well. I see, Kanon said.
Her expression remained unchanged. What about your parents, Kano? I don't have any. They died during the war. The bluntness of her response made my hand stop, strings still stretched between them. Sensing that we were treading on some dangerous ground, I hurried to change the subject. Do you have any friends? No. Well, I used to have one. Her use of the past tense made me fear the worst, and I was right. He was killed too, by a non-stealer named Alphard. The tone was dry, matter of fact. Taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life. Despite the gravity of her words, her face was an unreadable mask. She seemed almost incapable of human emotion. So, what sort of person is this Alphard? A destructionist who masquerades as a terrorist. Destructionist? That sure wasn't a term that came up a lot back in Japan. Alphard doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. The chaos and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist acts. So you're saying this Alphard commits terrorism just because it's fun? Mom nodded. That's why every now and then Alphard changes loyalties. Just when you think you found ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, it turns out the job is for the American CIA. The heck? So Alphard stands for nothing then? Alan smiled dismissively at my little childish outburst. I couldn't help but feel a little bit patronized. I twiddled my fingers, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Alan's eyes fixed right back on the string. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quiet, watching closely as I worked my fingers. The tension in the room faded as the silence between us lengthened. My stepmother was the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing, I said at last. For some reason I had the urge to talk about my personal life. I guess she cares about herself more than her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date, or that a woman's life is defined by a man. But it's not like I hate her or anything. Do you mind teaching me? Kanon asked softly. What, how to find a guy to date? No, she shook her head. Then she pointed at the cat's cradle strung between my fingers. Oh, you mean this. So I took her by the hand and started to teach her the cat's cradle. Hey, you mind if I ask you something? I said after a while. What's that? That friend you mentioned earlier. What was he like? Kanon's fingers went still. It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, to come home. That's not true, I insisted. Even though I'm a terrorist, she replied curtly. One who uses fear and violence to attain political objectives. The term has its origins in the Reign of Terror in 18th century France, known in French as La Terreur. I swallowed a sudden lump in my throat, unable to find words. We fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists. In a religious sense, the state of being virtuous, free of sin, observant of the proper rules of moral conduct. Not the same as being in the right, though many people equate the two. Am I wrong? She cast a quick look at my face. But, I mean, you protected me. My voice wavered as I replied. All I did was take down some thugs. I just didn't want them around. What I say to that? I just stammered. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Huh? Tom flashed me another slight, condescending grin. I was just joking. Don't worry about it. But I didn't get the sense that everything she'd said was a joke. Even if calling herself a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanon lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. I could tell that from the look in her eyes, a look you'd never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardships had she endured to acquire that deadly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Kanon tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about. Okay, here we go. She hooked the string around her fingers and spread her palms. The string shape just collapsed into a jumbled mess. Found it. Okay, one more time. You can make this into a game with two people, you know. I plucked the string from Kanan's hands. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun than doing it by yourself. I wrapped the string around my fingertips. What do you say? Want to give it a go? Kanan looked dubious. The intricately intertwined strings were like the world, in a way. What had started as a single thread was now something that could be undone just by pulling on it. I held my hand out, twirling the string around my fingers. Kanan took the pattern from me, spread her palm apart. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with a childish little laugh of my own. And as if in the blades of sunshine, the fog had been hanging over my mind, finished receding. I remember everything. My name is Maria Osawa. My sister is Hitomi Osawa. And Kanan? She's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once. Now it's my turn to help her. Close my eyes as I reflect upon my precious memories, all the dearer for having been lost. Now when I try to picture Kanan, I can do so clearly. Just as I thought before, my memories are what make me who I am. I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if time had stopped for me while my history was gone, and now it started moving again. Finally back to being me. And I have to go. I have to go back there. One more time.
And what? What? End of her story. And
What the fuck is going on?
the beginning of another? Oh God! Are you scared about meeting with your father? Someone's broken through our firewall. Sorry. You'll lose everything. 5 o'clock.
Running out of time.
What the fuck?
She's gone. She's just straight up fucking gone. End. What do you mean, end? What?
Alright, now there's only 4 people left.
Alright, well, gotta fucking find the endings I don't have. She spent fucking like 30 whole ass minutes reminiscing. Hang on. I'm just gonna go into a random scene so that I look up how many bad endings I have. What's the most bad endings I should have at this point? 63. 63. Okay. Alright, so Osawa ends at Hitomi's death. So I'm already missing one. I'm missing one for Kano. Missing one for Kano, then it goes to 52. Then I'm missing 53. I didn't get any ending for Maria. 5, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63. Alright, so 63. So it looks like Osawa has it all. I might be missing one for Minorikawa, but in the end, I'm probably actually missing stuff for Maria rather than Minorikawa. I'm missing a lot of the beginning ones, it seems. So I'm missing stuff that has to do with Kano, Achi, and Maria. Okay. So what the fuck? Alright, well, one thing that I can do is that often other people's bad endings could lead to more people's bad endings. Especially now that I have this whole story down. Okay, so Achi originally had race after them. Who does that change? That changes Kano. Osawa continues. Maria's fucked. Norikawa's at a bad end. What is that? Surrendered to the police. That's right. Alright, Kano. Kano has something. Kano sat down in the chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found myself something to do. Hey, Kano. Zay standing beside him. Sasayama. Organ damage, critical condition. I see. Sasayama's blood. Go back carefully. Okay, hang on. E. I forgot about that. Shook his head. What happened to Sasayama isn't your fault, don't blame yourself, he said. The Osawa case is over now. Put it out of your mind. I'm assigning you to a new investigation. Kano heard no blame in Kuze's voice. There was a fatal car accident over in Nanpadai. The culprits have turned themselves in, I hear. I'd like you to go take their testimony. To ask about the circumstances and details of a given event or situation. Standard police procedure when dealing with individuals involved in a criminal investigation sometimes includes taking written statement to present to the court. Ordinarily, Kano would have objected to such an arbitrary change in assignment. Punishment or no, he would have begged to stay on the Osawa investigation, even if it was officially on hold. But now his heart just wasn't in it. Understood, sir, he said with a nod. Kuze handed him a briefing on the accident. It was a taxi driver and his passenger who'd surrendered themselves to the police. Kano leafed through the paperwork as he headed for the interrogation room. Being immersed in the hustle and bustle of Criminal Affairs Division felt like a return to normalcy. The events early in the day gradually faded from his mind, and while part of him wanted to hold on to the sense that he'd been in the midst of something unusual, something important, his lingering regrets were soon buried under the clutter of the day-to-day. Bad end. Accident questioning. Calling an end to the kidnapping investigation, Kuze reassigned Kano to look into a fatal car accident. But you can't give up there. The Osawa case hasn't been resolved at all. The taxi driver and passenger who turned themselves in are none other than Kimizuka and Minorikawa. Two of them can avoid causing an accident. Kuze will have a different story to tell. Alrighty. Whole new SOS. Yeah, sure. Okay, so... Okay, hang on. Yeah, if I do that, that'll make Achi have another bad ending. Oh, that gives Kano another bad ending. And Maria. Okay. It's Kano and Maria another bad ending. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tateno, why are you doing? Oh, wait. Hang on.
I really Maria? Okay, no, I can't do anything. Blindfold removed, Maria slowly opened her eyes. Then, as she gazed past Kano, a panicked look crossed her face. Ah! She shot her arm out to point. Kano whirled around in surprise. There was a man on the roof of the building across the way they looked, who looked like he was getting ready to jump. Why now? Kano thought to himself, but he couldn't just stand idly by while someone committed suicide. He felt a pang of disgust when he saw Tateno take in the situation with an indifferent glance, but make no move to help. Detective Tateno, I'll be right back, Kano exclaimed. We can finish this after. Without waiting for an answer, he raced for the other building. When he got to the second rooftop, the man was still there, staring down at the ground below. Do anything rash. Wait, isn't that Minorikawa? Oh shit, Minorikawa has a different ending too. I didn't even notice. Okay. When the man gave no response, though, Kano quickly halted. The stranger was still several meters away. Kano braced himself, ready to lunge for the man if necessary. Let's not be hasty. Nobody's going to be happy if you jump. Still, the man said nothing, simply gazing out at the sky. Surely he could hear Kano now. The detective continued, keeping his voice low and conversational. Got a coworker. He's one of the most absurdly devoted husbands you could meet. All he does is brag about his wife. The man continued to ignore him. Oh, this is... Never mind. He was stabbed in the belly earlier today. He's in the hospital right now on death's door. He was happy, but now his life might get snatched away from him any time. Still, the man appeared unmoved. It was as if the words weren't even reaching him. Don't you think it's a waste to just go and throw your own life away? Kano waited for the man to respond. The stranger took a purposeful stride away from the fence toward the roof's edge. Don't! Stop! Don't do it! The man unflinchingly stepped out toward him. No! Kano sprang forward, somehow managing to grab hold of the stranger's wrist. He yanked the man back from the edge, getting only a blank stare in response. Don't go wasting your life like this! Ordinarily, Kano would have stayed and talked until he was sure this guy's death wish had passed. But there wasn't time for that right now. Maria was in just as much a dangerous situation at that very moment. Whipping out his handcuffs, he shackled the man to the fence. What? I promise I'll come back. Please just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? Kano left the man, staring in bewilderment, and raced back to the South Hill building. But they gone! When he got back to the roof, no one was there! Kano immediately tried to call Tateno on his cell, but the call didn't go through. Tateno must have powered off his phone. Damn it! Where did you go, detective? He needed to hear what Tateno had to say. He still had no idea what was really going on, or what the grim truth might be, and it seemed he had just lost his chance to find out. In desperation, Kano rushed from the building. But in his frantic search of the area, he saw no sign of either Tateno or Maria. Later, a precinct-wide manhunt failed to discover where the two had gone. From that day forward, Kano was empty inside, carrying out his duties as a detective with bleak attachment. Lost sight of Maria and Tateno. When Kano caught sight of a man about to commit suicide, it was Minorikawa, he couldn't ignore the situation and impulsively rushed to the rescue, but lost track of Tateno and Maria as a result. If Minorikawa hadn't turned up on the rooftop, Kano would have been able to focus on his primary mission. Alright. We gotta figure out what the hell happens here. Alright, I'm sorry.
Oh, he just straight up go there.
Norikawa headed up to the roof of a nearby building and lit himself a cigarette.
Tiny tendrils of white smoke drifted lazily up into the blue sky. As his eyes tracked the twisting movement of the smoke, memories of Toyama and their newspaper days played through his mind. Practically any time the two men needed to speak to one another, they got into a heated argument on the spot. Norikawa cherished his subjective viewpoints, while Toyama insisted on objectivity for the readership. Neither shied away from vigorous headbutting. But once the articles were on the page and out the door, it was all water under the bridge. It almost felt like the referee calling no side at the end of a rugby match. The phrase called out by the referee to signal the end of a rugby match refers to the fact that no side has possession of the ball, allowing the two teams to part on sportsmanlike terms. The truth was that somewhere deep down, Norikawa got where Toyama was coming from. Without objectivity, readers didn't get the facts. Without subjectivity, they didn't get any emotional impact. Norikawa had to credit Toyama for helping him become a full-fledged reporter. So Toyama was in there. It was a suicide. Norikawa let Chiaki's words drain from his mind, overwriting them with one irresistible fact. Truth. The truth was in anything and everything. The truth could not be forgotten. The truth was all that remained in the end. Norikawa smirked grimly at himself. He'd come up here hoping to reignite his journalistic passion, but instead the emptiness within him had only grown. Yeah, guess this is gonna take a while. Sparked up a second cigarette. Keep out! Ah! I gotta keep out for a fucking bad ending. Get fucked. Fine. Let's see how fucking Maria does before I go and see how fucking Norikawa majestically doesn't commit suicide and he's actually just there. I've come as you asked. Next week my feet. Where's Hitomi? Why didn't you bring her? Detective Tateno, why are you doing it? That really Maria? First thing I see is the sky overhead. It's so bright that I have to lower my eyes and I spot someone in the distance. It's a man! There's a man standing on the edge of the roof of the building across the way! Ah! Momentarily forgetting my own station, I cried out. Huh? The young man in front of me turns in surprise to see what I'm pointing. The man across the way is staring into the street below, looking like he might jump at any moment. Detective Tateno, I'll be right back! We can finish this later! The young man takes off, disappearing down the stairwell. My heart pounds nervously in my chest as I gaze across to the other. Then my captor Tateno, the other guy called him, grabs my arm. Let's go. Huh? Are we heading over there too? No, we're going somewhere else. I don't know where yet. Tateno's got his gun trained on me again. Looks like I don't have any choice but to go with him. He nudges me on and we head for the stairs. I take a quick look back at the sky above the city. This may be the last time I ever see the sky. For some reason, that thought resounds inside my head. Bad end. Ah, fuck, I forgot to actually, damn it. No, that's fine. As soon as her blindfold was taken off, Maria spotted Norikawa atop the building across the way. Kano rushed over there to stop what he thought was a potential suicide, and Tateno used the opportunity to abscond with his captive. Definitely a case of Norikawa being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay. So go to Kano. A man? What is a man? I know. Man! Hello, man! I have to do this for a fucking bad end. Are you happy with yourself? Wow. When he entered the rooftop, Norikawa gazed down at the city below, no longer aware of the passage of time. No matter how hard he tried to write about the truth, ultimately, he hadn't been able to change anything. So what had it all been for? The last ghost of his desire to keep up the struggle left him as he considered how meaningless it had all been. Don't do anything rash! An intruder abruptly shattered his silence. A man in a suit had appeared behind him. Now he rushed closer, calling out with concern. Let's not be hasty. Nobody's going to be happy if you jump. If he jumped. Norikawa stepped to the very edge and cast his gaze straight down. That might not be a bad idea. Maybe some part of him actually. Suddenly, it felt like the natural course of action. From up here, the city looked like a miniature diorama of cars and people. It quite seemed real. Stop! Don't do it! Norikawa took a step forward despite the strangest word. A splendid sense of liberation as he did so. He allowed his body to go limp, co-signing himself to the fall. Just as he began to topple, he was abruptly yanked back. Don't go wasting your life like this, the stranger barked. The look on his face was outrageously solemn. And then, for some reason, he slapped handcuffs onto Minorikawa's right wrist. What? Before Minorikawa could react, the man locked the second cuff in the pair around the nearby fence. I promise I'll come back! Please, just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? That, the guy darted away. What the hell, Minorikawa muttered. Found himself alone again, unable to go anywhere even if he wanted to. Feeling emptier than ever, he resumed his aimless vigil, staring out across Shibuya. And in the end, the man never did come back. Not even after the sun had set. Night had fallen, and the next bleak morning came. What the fuck, Kano? Some guy, it was Kano of course, showed up out of nowhere, handcuffed Minorikawa, and left him to languish on the rooftop. It had looked to Kano like Minorikawa was contemplating suicide, an understandable mistake under the circumstance. Maybe now isn't the best time to reminisce about the past. Yo, bad times, yeah, got all the endings. Bad times, 4 o'clock block. Alright, now it's this one, right? Yeah. Stumbling man. Hey! Is it fun hitting people with that thing? Alright, and is everybody cool? Is everybody cool? You have your ending, everyone else is at 5 o'clock. Alrighty. Whew. That took a lot longer than I thought. Didn't help that I spent like fucking 10, 15 minutes, something like that, just trying to find some way to get Maria's pathway unlocked. And I didn't even notice that fucking Kano's pathway was unlocked at one point. But yeah, finally done with 4 o'clock. Things are getting much more interesting. Thank you all for watching, especially if you got this far. Stick around, because there's a lot more to come.